Thank you, Joelle. Right. Well, to be honest, I've been dreading this moment all week. Yes, I'm just being honest. But it's not that bad. I know, it has nothing to do with you. It's all about me. It's been an interesting week. You know, it's already December and the year is coming to a close. 2016 is crazy. Anyway, before I get started, I just wanted to share a few pictures, if you haven't seen them already, from our trip to the reunion we had in Boulder at the Boulder Center. I know not all of you know the Boulder Center, but this is a building that our church used to own in Boulder, and we used to go there to celebrate our holy days and our special events. And for me, I have a lot of memories, even though I didn't grow up in Colorado, but we would make the drive down here for God's Day or different events, and we would go here, and just a lot of memories, a lot of fun, a lot of neat experiences happened over the years. And we sold it back in 2000, and I hadn't been back there since, so it was really neat to go and see how much the place is pretty much the same as when we were there, but everything seems so small in comparison. When I was there as a 12-year-old, everything seemed so big, like this huge mansion of a place. And I remember this fire pit being like the size of a room. And anyway, but it was really neat. The place was so similar to the way it was before in terms of a lot of the carpet, even some of the furniture. Even I could swear that even some of the basketballs that we found were the same basketballs that were there 20 years ago. I'm pretty sure they were. And many of you remember this rear projection TV that they used to have there with the big circular bulbs that weighed like 500 pounds. They said they were using that up until a year ago. Yeah, so they're not really into getting rid of stuff. But we had a lot of fun. A lot of kids came and just reminisce old memories, and some people getting to see it for the first time. It was really neat. Same chalkboards, still there. And Josh Finn flew out from New York just for this. He came with his girlfriend, and Tomio was here, fortunately, and Kai and Dan Chimes was here too. He came even though he wasn't feeling good, and Teresa was sick and baby was sick, but really, really wanted to see it. Then afterwards, we got Tomio and Josh there. Then we had to play a game of football, because that's what we used to do when we go to the Boulder Center. We play some sports afterwards. And it was just a lot of fun, and make new memories and reminisce on old memories. And I was really grateful for the experience. I wanted to share a little bit this, the Generation Peace Academy was here, and they left a card for the community. So I felt it's right that I should share a few things. They really felt welcomed. They didn't feel like they were outsiders in this community. Like, here's one person, she said, your community is so welcoming and loving. It truly felt like a family church. And I'm so grateful we got to stay at the church. It really felt like home after a long day of fundraising. I hope your community continues to grow. And thank you, Colorado Family Church. The atmosphere is very welcoming and warm each and every Sunday. I'm glad I received the blessing to meet this bright and hopeful community. And it's just basically the whole card is full of stuff like that. So I think that's wonderful. Please give yourselves a round of applause. We actually had a couple that was visiting us from New Jersey. They left this morning, and I gave them a tour of the church and talked to them a little bit about what we're doing in the community. And they're so inspired. I mean, they're really involved in their community. They're trying to do things in their community too, but it's difficult, and they're just so inspired to hear about what we're doing. So anyway, it's really great. Anyway, going back to the point where I was really not looking forward to this moment, I want to share a quote that kind of sums up my week. When you are sunk in despair, It means you have been self-centered. Then it is natural for you to be disappointed. At that moment, you must remind yourself of your parents who are always praying for your success. And think of the fact that there are friends, relatives, and your own country praying for you to be successful for the sake of the nation and themselves. If there be a God at all, God is blessing you with happiness every moment. Me and Adonia, we're going through a difficult hump in our relationship this week, going through some, arguments and, have you ever gone on a date or, been with your wife, your husband, and for like 3 hours you didn't talk to each other or look at each other? Or Yes. It was kind of like that. I was so grateful for my mom. She came and she watched the kids. Said, go out on a date, have a good time. And, it was like that. And, going through lots of feelings of, she doesn't know care about me, know what my needs are, and just kind of a very kind of stuck in that frame of mind. And it was so difficult to even just do the most basic, fundamental things like do the dishes, because my mind would be like, well, you know what, she should just do them, do the laundry, everything kind of came to that, and it was awful. It was awful. And, every relationship goes through that at one point, at different times. And, it wasn't that in and of itself that was, made it, for me, feel like, oh, how can I give a sermon this week? But it was more like my attitude. Because everybody goes through struggles, right? Whether it's, maybe you're struggling with your parents, you're struggling with your siblings, or your children, or your husband, or your wife, or whatever. Relationships are like that. They're difficult at times. They're wonderful at times, and they're difficult at times. And you got to kind of take the good with the bad, in a way. But it was really my attitude that just kind of paralyzed me, thinking like, man, in 4 days, or in 3 days, or in 2 days, I've got to get up there and I've got to give a sermon and I've got to talk about something inspiring, and somehow we have to love one another more, or love God more, or be better people. But here I am stuck in the mud, just thinking about how much I'm not being taken care of, or I'm not being loved, and how much other people should do more for me, or so on. And how can I give a sermon and inspire people when I'm thinking that way? So that's why I was dreading this moment. But thankfully, Father says so many good things about this topic. Here's one. If you think of things in terms of yourself, with arrogance and pride, looking down on others, you are going away further and further from God. You must be humble, you must be ready to sacrifice yourself, and you must do things for the good of others. If you teach other people the same things, that you must be ready to forgive others and take responsibility for others and be sympathetic to others, then you must practice it, or it would not convince them or move their hearts. Isn't that so true? I mean, so obvious, but I knew that in the midst of this struggle that I was going through, I needed to take the initiative to be the one to practice care for others and love for others, even though maybe I didn't really feel like it. Maybe I didn't really feel like I was being loved, or that I was being treated the way I wanted to be treated, but I needed to find a way to get out of that state of mind and do something for my wife, love her, even if I didn't really feel like I was being loved. You know how to separate good from evil, so remove the evil and cultivate the good within yourself. Selfishness or self-centeredness, those are the greatest enemies. You must be able to resist those powers, and you must be ready to do things and you will resemble God. Then you will take delight in what you are doing, and God will be pleased with you. And then here's another one from the Bible, Proverbs 3:27 says, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to act. So, last week, Adonia, she gave a sermon on gratitude, and she talked about how, sometimes we just want to be grateful people. But sometimes we need to act with gratitude. We need to give love. We need to take an action. And that action, if we take the action, even if we don't always feel like it, it does something to our soul. And in the divine principle, we call that vitality elements. We do a good action, maybe with love in our heart. Do the laundry for my wife. What I ended up doing was I bought my wife a box of macaroons. She loves macaroons. And, a part of me I didn't want to do it, I wanted to wait till she apologized first, or I wanted to wait till she did something for me, then I'll do something for her. But, I was shopping, I had all the kids with me at Costco, and I saw this box, and I thought, if I bought this for her, she would probably feel loved by that. And, like I said, there was part of me that didn't want to do it, part of me that wanted to wait for her to initiate, being the one to love me the way I wanted to be loved. But also in the moment, I know because I've heard it all my life, that someone has to be the one to initiate giving first. Someone has to be the one to initiate loving first. Even if you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, somebody has to. And, frankly, I didn't want to be stuck in that hell any longer of just Adonia and I, not making eye contact throughout the day. We still had our kids to take care of. We still had to make sure things got done. But it wasn't really like there was no love or compassion there. And I recognize that, you can go for, and some people in their lives, you can go for years in that kind of a relationship. And for me, I'm so grateful that that's not my circumstances in my life right now. But even just to be in it for a few days is so miserable. Yes, thank you, Roger. And we have to find a way to get out of that. We have to do something, do actions with our body. And thankfully, she accepted the macaroon. She was grateful for that. I didn't have to get down on my knees and beg for forgiveness or, whatever that you have to do sometimes. But it's not easy because you have your pride, you have your ego, you have your hurt. You feel I've been wronged, and it's up to that other person to make it up to me. But it never works that way. Don't allow yourself to be made unhappy by another person. Be determined not to think of things in that way. I think Father is saying this, but he knows it's not easy, right? Always think of yourself as being the cause, not other people. So, Adonia was mentioning to me a couple weeks ago that we probably talk about gratitude more than any other topic in terms of the number of sermons that we've given on specific topics. We talk about gratitude more than anything else. And I think that's, we didn't plan it that way, it just kind of happened. But I think that's one of the pillars of living a life of faith, actually. Have you ever met a person that, you really felt like this person embodied God's love? This person is really like someone I look up to. This person is really a great person I want to be like, that didn't embody in some way or fashion gratitude. Having a life of gratitude, being grateful for even the difficult experiences. For me personally, that's one of the reasons I admire our true parents so much, is because they have so much reason to not be grateful in so many ways, so many setbacks and people who turn their back on them and things that they tried to do that people got in the way, things didn't turn out or whatever. father was put in prison so many times for, not doing anything wrong. And, they're just oozing with gratitude. Gratitude for life, gratitude for all the things that they have and all the people that they have and always thinking, I wish I could have done more. Always, wishing that, they always thinking they didn't do enough. Always thinking like, what more could I have done? And, Father went to the spirit world like that. And so I guess I'm just sharing this with you because this, for one, has just been the experience that I've had this week, but also I know that all of us kind of get into that state of mind from time to time where we struggle to feel gratitude, and we struggle with self-centeredness, feeling like, who's taking care of me? I'm not being loved enough. My needs aren't being met. And, you might have incredibly good reason for that. Who am I to say? But at the same time, we know that dwelling on that and focusing on that and getting resentful towards people because they're not doing enough for me will never mean that we'll ever find happiness. And so, the Father and the principle and this teaches us that we are the people to take the initiative, to give love, even if we don't feel like it, to express gratitude, even if we don't have things to be grateful for, instead of criticizing others, to lift up their good points, especially during the times where you feel like you have so much to criticize for. And then that's the secret to how we can discover more happiness and fulfillment and joy in our lives and our relationships. And frankly, to become people that husbands and wives and children want to be around. And I'm grateful to the graciousness of my wife because she accepted my offering of the macaroons. And we are doing much better now. And I'm grateful to my conscience and for listening to my conscience of buying the macaroons. And it seems like such a small thing, but in reality, it was the thing the thing I didn't want to do so much. It was an offering, a symbolic offering of love. It was a small thing, but for me, it meant everything. In a way, kind of giving up a pride and ego and the hurt that I felt, and just saying, look, I just want to, give something to you. I just want to appreciate you and thank you and love you, and then, and hopefully go from there. So, that's the message today. If you happen to be in a state of mind that I was, I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully you can take something from this message, improve your life, and help you to be happier, more grateful person. If you're not, great. It's probably going to happen to you sooner or later. And so please try to remember these words. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
For our first announcement, I'd like to invite up Dr. Hendrick.
Two things. I just wanted to say I hope that you'll remember to bring any guests you might have to next Saturday's part 2 of our Divine Principle Introductory Workshop. It's not necessary to have gone to the previous one, part 1. You can jump right in part 2. It'll be perfectly fine. And second thing I wanted to say is that today I'll be talking about living for the sake of others, very apropos with our sermon this morning. I really appreciate, Pastor Mike, your message. And but I just wanted to say it's not the common sense kind of approach that you might think, oh yeah, live for the sake of others. I hope you won't just dismiss it like that and think it's not such a valuable presentation, because I think it's out of the box, and it'll be worth your time if you can take the time after lunch to come. I think you'll find it valuable, and I hope you'll come. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hendrick. So Youngill and Mira will be hosting a baking and board game youth get-together at their home on this Saturday, December 10th at 2 p.m. Please let Youngill, Mira, or Sammy know if you'll be attending. Also, this coming Sunday, Dr. Hendrick will be going into the second half part of the Divine Principle, Restoration. This workshop is for guests and for those looking to be refreshed in the principle. Lunch and dinner will be provided. Volunteers for preparing lunch and dinner, setting up, and cleaning would be much appreciated. Oh, sorry, I said Sunday, but I meant Saturday, 9 to 5. And our local Women's Federation chapter will be having their Christmas party here at the church on Saturday, December 17th. Please RSVP by December 14th and bring a friend. I don't know. It's free? Oh, okay, it is free. So we have upcoming Divine Principle workshops in Las Vegas. Please think and pray about attending in the near future. The church can support part of the costs, so please pray about this. And then our Christmas party will be the following day after the Women's Federation party. It'll be here Sunday, December 18th, right after service. We're still working on the details, but we promise it'll be fun and exciting. And then this year, Christmas Day falls on a Sunday, so we will actually have service at noon instead of the 10:30, and we'll have a potluck lunch. At this time, I want to invite up Peggy Ujiri for a quick announcement. Thank you. As always, help is always needed and appreciated, so if you find in your heart you can spare a little extra time or invest a little more into the church, please let Pastor Mike or Pastor Adonia know. Next week, we have the Fuhr family cleaning, Emmanuel and Priska Shima ushering, and the Makalo family cooking.